Good afternoon. It is a little bit past 3, so we're going to start. We've got a lot to be thankful for. You'll see that throughout our presentation today. And before we have our moment of silence, we did this last month. Do we have anybody, this is your first town hall meeting? Any residents? Okay. Nancy, can you introduce her?
This is Ellie, and I just met her myself. She's on the 4th floor.
Nothing like putting you on the spot,
Yeah.
sorry. Welcome.
4th floor of woman, yes.
Great.
And that's Jackie. She lives on my floor. She's been here, but this is her first meeting.
Oh, well, welcome for your first meeting. Wow, okay. Anybody else? This is your first town hall meeting. Okay, well, I hope you will come back for round 2. I'll check in with you, Jackie, and see if this was worth your while. Hopefully it is. All right, as I said, we will start with a moment of silence. Thank you. It's my pleasure to start things off. Bill Carroll has a few words for us, and I'm going to invite Bill up to talk to you.
And I'll actually start us off real quick. Bill does have a few words, and let me get out of that light. As many of you know, my name is Carson Spearian. I am the Director of Philanthropy, and I help lead our resident financial assistance campaign, along with other philanthropic efforts. And Bill has graciously agreed this year, as many of you know, to be our Guilford resident volunteer. I think we guilt tripped them into it, but we're glad to have him. And so I'm just giving just a quick thank you. Many of you have contributed to the campaign so far. And many of you plan to contribute before the end of the year. And so just wanted to share that our campaign continues until the end of the year. It does go to a great cause. And if you have any questions about giving from an IRA or a tax advantage account or anything like that, please reach out to me. I'm a resource to you for that. And just wanted to say thank you for your generosity. Bill?
My dad was a Methodist minister, so I'll preach at you for a minute. Good afternoon, my friends. Many of you have heard me speak of the numerous Methodist ministers in my family, and the fact that pleading for financial support of worthy initiatives comes quite easy for me. I heard my father plead with his congregations many, many times. Today I ask for your support of the Residents Assistance Fund. All of us hope to have adequate resources to sustain us for the remainder of our days. That said, we may encounter serious and expensive health challenges. One of our children may need our assistance with educational expenses, or we are drawn to a particular benevolent cause. A few of you are more than 100 years old, and some of you are nearing that milestone. By the grace of God and the Residents Assistance Fund, I hope to be one of you. Please join me in generously supporting this year's campaign So if you or I need to access the fund, the resources will be there. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, Bill. And I just wanted to share one last thing. This year we have 21 residents here at Friends Homes who are receiving some form of subsidy. And that's not all full subsidy, but as you know, people do encounter difficulties and very expensive healthcare issues, and isn't it reassuring to know that if that happens to you, you'll be taken care of, because we as a community, and I say we, because many of the staff members here also give to this campaign to help support resident financial assistance. And so I think we as a community, this is a big priority, and it means a lot to see many of your names show up on that donor list every year. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carson. Thank you, Bill. That's a hard act to follow, but follow we must. So, community update. Very pleased. That's the right reaction. So, Hazel, Kelly Hodges' newborn Saturday night. So you may be asking, that is great news. Now, what are we going to do if we need Kelly? You'll have to wait till mid-January. Her and Sydney Sparing, who does a similar role over at West, we expect to return in mid-January. Until then, if you have a health-related question, concern, Teresa Cruz over here, or Chris over at West, many of you are familiar with those folks. Those are the resources for your health-related questions. Anything else, Matt or I or Tag, we're at, and we will direct you to the right resources. And again, we look forward to having Sydney and Kelly both back mid-January sometime. One other thing, they put us in a really good spot in terms of, you may be wondering about new resident orientation, something we take pretty seriously, and we've got a good plan. Teresa Mackey, who's a move-in coordinator in the back of the room, hey Teresa, has graciously agreed to help us with orientation. I think we only have one resident that has not already been oriented that has a plan to move in before end of year. So we're in good shape with that, and Teresa will be helping us with that specific task. So that's our plan. The pictures get progressively worse. Okay, rumor mill. Just some rumors that we hear occasionally, and we'll start with administration decides who received the Employee Appreciation Fund. That has been a rumor that we've heard before. The truth is that the Employee Appreciation Fund is managed 100% by the resident associations, both here and at West. We do not manage or decide who receives that fund. We do assist with the payout and paying the taxes and just the practical side of getting the money to its intended purpose. But those decisions are made at the resident council and resident association board level. So that rumor is officially quashed. All right. Next one, the West gift shop is closing.
What?
It is not closing. That's a rumor. That is not true. It is getting a refresh, so we'll have a new and improved West gift shop coming soon. It is not closing. Don't believe it if you hear it. Another rumor, 1% of Greensboro's entire Jewish population lives at Friends Homes. That's actually true. And Matt did the research to, we heard this reported at a meeting, Board of Trustee meeting, I believe, and Matt did the research. It's actually a little bit higher than 1%. We're pretty proud of that. I think it does represent our culture of diversity and the Quaker values associated with that. And so that is true. More than 1% of all of Greensboro's Jewish population resides here at Friends Homes. It's a fun fact, all right. We will be all participating in a group clinical service quiz. So, audience participation, I'm asking that you shout out the answer, true or false, and we have 5 questions. And we will test, whoever gets the most right will get a very significant pat on the back. All right, the first, true or false? The Isle Clinic is open 24/7. True or false?
False.
That is correct. It is false. While Friends Homes nurses do respond to emergencies 24/7, the Isle nurses provide non-emergency care in the clinic during the hours of 8 to 4:30 by appointment and walk-in. Make sense? All right. So you're warmed up. Next question. The Isle nurses can provide non-emergency nursing care to residents in their homes. True or false? I'm sorry, that is false. Let's read that again. The Isle nurses provide non-emergency, it's a key word there, nursing care to residents in their homes. They do not. Non-emergency services are provided in the Isle Clinic, not in your home, and in-home nursing support should be coordinated with the resident services coordinator. As I mentioned, while Kelly is out, that would be Teresa Cruz. You would talk to Teresa directly. We will help you coordinate resources that you might need in your home. That could be private duty sitters or other services that you might need in your home, non-emergency services. But the clinic hours are 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Make sense? Yeah. Any questions about that? All right, let's go on. The West crowd got all of these right, so
Not as
that's
fast.
probably a reflection of me. That there's a physician or physician support, PA or nurse practitioner in the clinic 4 days a week. True or false? That is true.
Which 4 days of the week is that?
Side note, we need a little education session. So Piedmont Senior Care does provide physician services on site, either here or at West 4 days a week. It's 2 days here, 2 days at
That
West,
don't count.
right?
That don't count.
Okay.
That was a trick question.
There, more information you can, if you look on ICON, formerly known as CareMerge, you can find more detailed information about their schedules, but they are on site 4 days a week. Here at Friends Homes. Here. All right. True or false? I have to be a patient of Piedmont Senior Care to receive nursing services in the clinic. There we go. We're back on track. It is false. IL nurses are here as a resource for you. They help with a variety of services, and we're going to see some of those services later. But as I mentioned, connecting residents to other health providers, assisting with appropriate health-related questions, and providing nursing services in our clinic. You do not have to be a patient of Piedmont Senior Care to get those services. Important note about Piedmont Senior Care, while it's required that residents become a patient, it's important, it's not required, that you become a patient of Piedmont Senior Care. There's a lot of benefit to that. those services being on site. So I would just commend those services to you. It is a benefit that's accessible to you, but not required. Okay, last question. If I go to the clinic too much, I will be moved to a higher level of care. True or false? Similar to Wes, we have some nervous laughter, but that is not true. That is false. That's not our goal. So please don't think that if you go to the clinic. We want you to see that as the good benefit that it is and make use of it. So we work as a team to assess resident needs continuously, and we think we do that out of the spirit of trying to be helpful to you as you need services, to coordinate and get the right services to you in the right setting. But we do not, if you go to the clinic, make you move. So that maybe should have been on the rumor mill thing. What services do the Isle Clinic nurses provide? Anybody know of a service?
COVID testing.
COVID testing, perfect, great answer. Any other?
Changing dressings.
Changing dressings. Well, let's see. Good. Here's a list. I know that list is kind of hard to read, but it is, again, available on Icon, or formerly CareMerge. Things like EKG reading, Coumadin, ear cleaning, injections. So those are blood pressure and pulse reading. So those are some of the basic first aid. All of those are available in the clinic. So for a list of those services, again, Icon is the repository where you can find all of that and more. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. And with that, I will turn it over to Matt. I promise not to steal his thunder about this, so I'll let him be the bearer of good news.
Tough to follow that quiz. Y'all did great. Steve was very kind. He can steal my thunder any day, but I just miss talking to y'all. So it's good to see you again. Anybody a basketball fan? Okay. Okay. More than at West. So just like the Guilford College football season tickets, we are able to receive a discount on the price of season tickets to Guilford's basketball program. So if you're interested in that, we'll treat this the same way we treated football. So if you would like to go to these games, we'll be offering transportation. You can buy the tickets the same way. So you can go to the box office website, which is right here. It's a very long, complex website, but if you want to write it down, you can. You'd enter a promotion code, and here are those two codes. So unfortunately, it's not one code for both. So if you want women's basketball or men's basketball, there are two different codes. WBB50 for women's, and MBB. Excuse me. Steve got y'all warmed up. I didn't get a chance to really be wrong about that for a while. MBB50 for men's basketball. And so when you put that code in, it'll automatically knock the price down from $75 to $50. And if you remember last season, they had a really good basketball team. And so it'd be a lot of fun to go over there. If this is a lot to do on your own, to remember to write down, Campus Life and Life Enrichment can help you, just like they did with football tickets. One note I forgot to mention at West, y'all gonna get a hot scoop here. We have extended our offer that we had last year to host the basketball team for some meals. That didn't pan out last year, but the offer is back on the table. So you may get to share some meals with these folks. So that's it. We'll turn that over to Carly now for a dining update.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here with a couple important announcements. So first of all, I wanted to share with the input of dining committee as well as a focus group. It's been a long time coming, but we have been working on a new and improved brunch menu for Cobles. If you've come over and had brunch with us, you know that it has been a buffet setup with, typical breakfast items and a friend special. But we've been working with committees. We've had a lot of resident feedback and also a focus group to take the brunch service and make it table service and get away from that buffet style. And with that, we'll also have a la carte pricing. So each item will have a price instead of your one price for the whole meal. And then we really dove into some different items that we heard feedback of you all would like to see. So we are excited on November 17th, which is a Sunday, to start offering our new brunch concept. With everything else, we would love your feedback. I hope that I will see you over there for brunch. But we did just want to share that it has been something that the culinary team and the committees have been working on very hard. So we're excited to be able to take your opinions and make that into hopefully a better service experience.
What is the time?
What is the time? The times did not change. So I think it will be 11:45 until 1:30. That's a good question.
Is that only on Sunday?
That is just for Sunday, yes. My last announcement is also a request for you all's help. So Thanksgiving will be upon us pretty quickly. And I'm asking that you all help us help you have a wonderful Thanksgiving by making reservations. There's been information shared on how to make those reservations for Thanksgiving lunch. We're asking that you all sign up, as well as telling us if you're bringing any guests. That just helps us plan, so we know how many servers we need to ask to come in. We know how much food we need to order so that we have enough for everyone. So really, it's important, and your sign up helps us prepare so that you all can have a wonderful meal and with your families if you bring them. So we are asking for sign-ups to be in by November 18th, so if you all will mark your calendars. And then as a reminder, if you've been with us for major holidays, we are closed for dinner at all of our venues. There is an opportunity when you sign up for Thanksgiving lunch, you can order a charcuterie bento box. We've had those at the past several holidays, and you can order those and pick those up. And then as a side note, so the hub will be open for breakfast if you choose to come to the hub. We'll close after breakfast for the day, and the Dogwood Deli will be closed that day as well. We'll put out some more reminders as it gets closer, and then we'll plan to do a similar operation for Christmas. But if you've been with us, this is kind of a typical major holiday request in the way that we run. But I do know we've got a lot of new faces, and so I just want to make sure you all feel comfortable. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me or any of the dining room managers. I'll turn it over to Whitney.
Okay, thank you, Carly. My name is Whitney Ariza. I'm the Director of Campus Life, and I have just a few updates for you. The first, and the one I'm most excited about, is to report on the coat collection. We, between West and Guilford, collected 181 coats for our neighbors in Western North Carolina. So I want to say a big thank you for that. A lot of the coats went to Ashe County. We distributed those, I'm saying we, but we have a contact that we used, and she helped us get those distributed through mainly the fire department and the community center in Ashe County. And then there were some of the coats that went to local churches in Asheville and Spruce Pine. So hopefully we've got 181 folks who are going to be a little bit warmer this winter, thanks to your generosity. On Monday, November 11th, it's Veterans Day. We're going to be doing a special breakfast in the Cobles dining room at 8:30. And that's for our veterans, and they can bring a guest. If you are a veteran and you're interested in coming to that breakfast, please let Susie Hudson know. I know many of you have, but if you haven't reached out to her, try and do that this week so we can get a good count and be prepared for that. We'll also do a Veterans Day recognition service, 11 o'clock here at Guilford and 2 p.m. in the West Living Room. And the one here at Guilford will have, we'll of course be honoring our veterans, and we will have some special music, and we'll have the color guard from Grimsley High School who's going to present the flags. A few trip highlights. You can find details about all of these trips in your Connection newsletter. We're going to head to Starworks for glass blowing and Seagrove to be able to see all the pottery down in Seagrove. That'll be one of our trips this month. We're also going to Fayetteville to the Airborne and Special Operations Museum. We'll have a really nice lunch in Fayetteville. This one I'm excited about. Broadway to Greensboro. Jodie Benson, who is the voice of the Little Mermaid, will be at Wellspring at the Virginia Sutton Theater. And so we'll be taking a group to see Jodie Benson. Our lunch bunch, we're doing Mayflower Seafood and Undercurrent. We're headed to the Center for Creative Leadership for a new art exhibit. We have a trip planned to Lewis and Elm Wine Bar, and then by very popular demand, we're going back to Edward McKay's in Mebane, the used bookstore. On Monday, November 18th from 3:30 to 5 here in the Guilford Living Room, we're going to do a meet and greet with Dr. Velandandi, Dr. V for short. So you can come and join us and meet her, and we'll have some light refreshments provided. All right, that's it from me. I'm going to pass it to Jasmine.
Hello everyone, I'm Jasmine Hernandez, your Wellness Director. So I only have a couple of slides, but this month we're doing 21 Days of Gratitude, November 8th to November 28th. So that is this Friday. You can pick up your sheet in the solarium, or you can go on Icon to get a digital of the 28-day challenge. Turkey Trot, November 27th at 1:30. We're all meeting at the Wellness Center main entrance, and this is just a fun walk for us to get together right before we enter the holiday. And I also want to encourage you to check your connections or check on Icon of all of our other fun activities as well. And I'm going to hand it over to Mark.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Ford, the Director of Maintenance. And this trip is more for the folks over at West. We had a air conditioning shutdown. And I said, well, did it go well? Because I didn't see anybody laid out on the air hockey table trying to cool off. So I think the shutdown went well. A few other completed projects. I mentioned the HVAC enhancements over at West. We turned some things off over there to get some better redundancy on the systems. We fixed some parking lot lights. We're always having trouble with parking lot lights. They're back up and running over at West. And over at the villas, if you ever visit your neighbors over there, the numbers are really hard to read at night. They're black on bricks. We changed to white on brick, and it seems like it's a lot easier to read. So thank you for the residents that suggested that. Here at Guilford, we're finally done digging up the front yard. I hope that wasn't too impactful for everyone. They've got that redundant transmission line in place, so we're better served from Duke. Duke paid for 100% of that project, which is also wonderful. I am aware that there's 2 large potholes that they still need to come fix, and I'm working on them to get them to do that. Please do not move those cones. They're there for a reason, and be careful around them. We also repaired some roofing over at Fry recently. So what are we doing now? Anybody didn't know, there's a giant machine over in front of Woman, or excuse me, behind Woman in the courtyard, trying to fix all the windows there and make that as waterproof as we possibly can. Speaking of fixing windows, we did the same at West today. Anybody uses the pool, that nice pretty window that had this speckled look to it, it was broken. So we replaced it, and that is all fixed now. And we're doing some other things over at West, namely replacing elevators. So if you're over on the end of the 1000 building, be aware that elevator is out of service until it is replaced. And we're going through the project of replacing the elevators there at West. Speaking of replacing elevators, who here has ridden the elevator, the secret elevator between the kitchens? It's good because you're not allowed to. It's a staff-only elevator, so that was a trick question. We do have a very small elevator. It's not much larger than a dumbwaiter, and it runs up and down on the roof in the back of house space. Unfortunately, it needs to be repaired. So we're going to do that work, and it's coming up soon. We're starting on a Saturday, which I've never seen an elevator person ask me to do that, so I'm pretty shocked. But they pushed me back for a few months, so I'm glad they're willing to come in and get going. So that's coming up, but it shouldn't affect anybody, and it shouldn't affect service. We've been planning this for a long time. The grab bar project, the first thing on the list. A lot of folks have been reaching out and saying, I want to be on the list. Please continue to do that, but I want to set expectations that I'm planning on getting started with actual installs in the spring. There's still a whole lot of planning and processing that needs to happen. There'll be more community meeting type sessions once we get to kick off that project, and it'll be really clear what Friends Homes is going to install. And if there's something else that you need beyond that, that would be a separate type of thing. But we'll talk about that more, and I wanted to let everybody know that's coming. We're not ignoring anybody, but it's going to be a spring project. And then speaking of that big machine out by Woolman, while it's here, it just makes sense to clean out some gutters and things. So the way we rent those are in months, and if we have some extra time left in our month of rental, we'll drive around and we'll try to get that bush that's growing out of the top of Hobbs over the door and a few other places that we've been aware of, but we just haven't had the right equipment to get to. And then building signage, this one will be exciting. We're gonna get kind of some updated building signs. Finally making some progress on that. I walked with the vendor this morning. They're starting at West with some of the phase 2 signage there, and once they call them panel signs, that's how they're made. Once the panel signs are complete, they'll be coming and install them over here as well. And it's just updating the red lettering on what may have been white at one time. It's now yellow background, and it's going to look more like our logo current brand for Friends Homes. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you everybody who's presented. Just have a couple slides for you, and we'll start with some financial information as we always do. We closed out the fiscal year at the end of September. You'll remember that our fiscal year begins October 1st. It ends at the end of September. I'm pleased to say that we had a very successful year. This is how we ended, with a positive variance of $322,000. So after we've paid all of our bills, after we've received the monthly service fees, we paid all of our vendors for all the service and projects and things like that, we have a slight positive variance. In the whole scheme of an over $40 million budget, that's why I say a slight positive variance, because it's really not that much that's left over. And there's still accounting process that occurs after this. So this is just the operational management of the community. So the people that you've heard presenting, it's all the stuff that they're responsible for, okay? You may be wondering about some of the other areas of our business. Our operating cash, that's the money that we have in the bank to pay the bills, is at $7 million. Our trustee held funds, right here, is also $7,147,000. So that's set aside to pay our interest and our debt payments. And then our investments are sitting at $79 million, which is a good number, a healthy number. It's been a good year in the stock market, and we've reaped those benefits. Our outstanding bonds payable. Why is it important to have this much in investments? Well, because we also have this much in debt, $104 million in outstanding debt. As you know, we recently expanded the community, and part of this debt is represented there, as well as other things that have occurred over the years as our community has grown. Our net entrance fee receipts, we collected $6.5 million in entrance fees over the last year, which is higher than what we budgeted. We budgeted $4.9 million. We had a very successful year welcoming new residents into our community, and we grew from an occupancy standpoint. We grew over the year. We became more and more full as a community, which is, it feels so great as the executive director to say that. You know, we welcomed a lot of new folks. We just heard about 2 folks today, but that's been consistent throughout the year. And then I always point out this number, $4.4 million. That's how much money was reinvested back into the community, in infrastructure, in air conditioning repairs, in the elevator replacements, in life safety equipment, in furniture purchases, all kinds of things that qualify as a capital expenditure. We spent $4.4 million keeping this community going from an infrastructure and investment standpoint. So really, really strong number for a community this size. Our debt service coverage ratio. Anybody know what that is? No idea. How many? No idea. That's our ability to pay our debt. You know, if you have debt, you need to pay it. And so we have the ability to pay our debt 2.6 times over based off of the money that we have in the bank. Days cash on hand. So if all business stopped today, we could continue to pay our bills for 834 days, which is a very good number. You always want to see a strong number. The industry standard is 438 days, and we're about twice that. If, as the operator of this community, if I was sitting at 438 days, I'd be nervous. I wouldn't feel too good about my community. There's some other communities that are there. I'm happy to say that we are not there. We're financially stable. Let's see, what's another good one? Our net operating margin, 8.4%. We budgeted 3.7%. So we have a positive margin. There was a time at Friends Homes, it wasn't that long ago, where we had 0 margin. And we were literally living paycheck to paycheck. That's what, as an organization, that's what it is. Yeah?
What do you mean by margin?
That's our, that is basically, I want to say profit, but it's you know, the variance between, you know, what we owe and what our commitments are and what we're bringing in. And like I said, there was a time where we had 0. And we were dipping into reserves to meet our needs. And then the average age of the community, that's a low number, 9. We're talking about the building and the assets, and that number is so low because of our recent expansion. So when we expanded, we built the villas, we built the cottages, Ridgecrest, we refreshed areas of West. That brought the average age of our community down. It's important to have a low number there. If we were at 15 years, I'm referring to this right here, if we were 15 years or 20 years, that would be a concern to our residents, because that would mean that we're going to need to invest a lot into our buildings in the coming years. But because we've invested so much as a community and the age of our community is lower, we're in a very good position. So great number. We should all be proud of these numbers. I say that every month. I hope I don't sound like a broken record, but we should be very proud of these numbers. You should feel good about the community that you chose to live in, right? There's communities elsewhere that are struggling right now. There's one that's not too far away that's struggling, and because there's been good fiscal management, there's been successful occupancy, we're in a strong position. I love to celebrate with our employees. Honestly, I think we have the best employees, right? Would anybody else agree? No bias, but I think it's true. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm here, is the experience that I had meeting our employees when I first came to interview was so fantastic. It moved me to a point where I said, you know, I want to be a part of that. I have 2 examples that I'll say 3 examples that I want to share with you, and I hope that you'll join me in celebrating. The first is we have 2 emerging leaders in our team, team of directors and managers. The first one is Jasmine. Jasmine is over here, Jasmine, stand up. You all know Jasmine, right? And Erica. Is Erica? There's Erica. Does that, you may not know Erica as much. Erica waiting for us. Okay. So, Erica works in our human resources department. She does a little bit of everything for us, wouldn't you say? HR generalist, senior HR generalist. Jasmine is our director of wellness. We nominated both to take part in the Brightspire Inspire development program. I believe it's about 8 months long. It's a serious commitment of time, personal development. A lot of reading, and then there's a big assignment. Our folks are broken up into teams. These are folks, and the teams are made up of folks from all the Brightspire communities. And they work on a project together. They come up with an idea, something that will help our industry, something that will help our communities. Has anybody seen the show Shark Tank? Anybody familiar with the show Shark Tank? Well, the team will provide a presentation, and they'll present on their idea, like Shark Tank. And they would ask us to all listen in, and then there's a panel that asks questions, and they provide information like what's the idea, what does it cost, how would we roll out the idea, how would it benefit the organization, and there's a real chance that we could adopt their idea in the organization. So it's this great experience of learning, it's a journey of development, and we wouldn't select these folks if we didn't see a tremendous amount of talent and promise in them, and so we're so proud of them for graduating and making it through the program, giving up their time, and so I hope you'll join me in congratulating them for graduating from this program. Good job. We all got to celebrate too. Next, we have members of our Whittier team here. Is there anybody from the Whittier team willing to stand up or wave? If you would, please. Okay, good. Stand up. I'm gonna have you stand up. Come on. And in the back here too. Look at all these folks. Any familiar faces? Do you recognize any of these folks? Yes. Yes. Well, I want to highlight this group. Another very hard-working, dedicated group of employees. I want to highlight them. I'm so proud of them for what they have done. Every year, we are inspected by the government to make sure that we're doing the right thing in Whittier. So they look at the resident care. They want to make sure that the processes are sound, there's good documentation, we're managing the medications properly, we're providing good quality care. They look at the staff education, they look at the backgrounds, they look at the training, they want to make sure we're in compliance. Safety, are we well maintained? Is the area clean? Is it safe? What about the food? Is there good quality food? Are we documenting properly? Is there good service? Fire safety, are we meeting code? Right? Is the physical plant in good working shape? Are we prepared for emergencies? Do the staff know what to do? Do we have plans in place? Are we training? Do the policies align with the federal requirements? There's over 35 pages of regulations that they are accountable for and to. And there's a potential for over 209 different citations. The average number of citations in the US is 9. The average citations in North Carolina is 7.2. I'm very proud to share with you that after our successful inspection or survey, we only ended up with 2 very minor tags. This doesn't just happen. You know, we're not surprised when they show up to do this survey. We are prepared. The team is like a well-oiled machine. That's the one thing that Jim kept saying to me. He's like, Jim is the Associate Director of Healthcare. He says, I'm so impressed. They know exactly what to do. They're well prepared. It's like a well-oiled machine. And that doesn't just happen. That is a daily culture of preparation, readiness, and training. And so I just thought, boy, wouldn't it be great if they were all here to hear what I'm saying to you so that we can celebrate them. So I just want to say thank you to the Whittier team. Thank you for all that you do. You're doing a fantastic job, and we are so, so, so proud of you. Thank you. For our residents, you know, we talked about the finances and we're financially sound, and now we're talking about the care. And really, you know, why do you move into a community like this? You could probably stay in your home. I have to believe that a part of why you chose to move into Friends Homes, beyond the social benefits, right, is that you know that if and when you need care, it's available to you. And isn't it good to know that we provide good care at Friends Homes? Not perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? But by and large, we're doing a good job. And that's it. That's it for the presentation. You made it. That was a long one. At the beginning of the day, I looked at all the slides and I said, oh my gosh, we have 40 slides. We have to pare this down. And you legitimately made it through about 40 slides. But now is I think everyone's favorite part of the presentation, question and answer. Does anybody have any questions, comments, feedback?
I have a question for Mark Ford. Mark, we are going to be changing all the furniture, etc., in Woolman common areas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. We've been asked to remove any personal items in those rooms, the kitchen and the living room in those areas. My question doesn't relate to that. It relates to the fact that there are some items that have been communalized, that is, they belong to all the residents on that floor, such as small items like Christmas tree decorations, etc. They are stored in the closet. I believe everything is going to be painted. There is no practical way for those items to be stored elsewhere, even on a temporary basis. So I'd like to know what you recommend we do. And thank you.
So I appreciate the comments in the question. I'll do my best to explain, because we're well underway with that project, and the rooms are already 100% cleaned out. So what has happened in the Woolman meetings where we discuss the project and discuss with the folks, the representatives on each floor, is to take those decorations, those items that need to stay in the space and that are planning to go back into the closet, if they're not going to be housed within an apartment, just to put them in the cupboards of the kitchen. So that's where they currently are now. So I can't remember if it was on 4 or 5, but I made sure that all the Christmas trees that were on the counter are put in the cupboard. And we intend to put them back in the closet. Now, as far as how that stuff gets dispersed after we get done with the project, I'm going to turn it over to Steve for a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't know if the message made it in icon today. I haven't looked yet, but if it hasn't, you'll see it today. Goes tomorrow. It went out yesterday. Thank you, Whitney. So if you had personal items in there that you would like to reclaim, let me know that. We have them set aside. We have not thrown anything away yet that came out of the 4th and 5th floor. We don't intend to throw anything away that can be repurposed. What does repurpose mean? We will give residents an opportunity to claim items that they may have donated to that space. We're going to refresh it. We would ask, as we refresh those rooms, that you not add to it going forward, because we do want a nice, consistent look of all the living rooms, and we want to provide that for you. So if you have items that you had in that room previously, you want to collect those back, let me know. We'll track them down for you. If you have items that weren't yours, but you might like them in your apartment, let me know that, and we can, if we have more than one request for the same item, we'll figure out a way how to auction that and donate the money to a good cause. We've got some ideas of where we can put those funds. So we do have, we're trying to be very intentional about being good stewards of those resources, repurpose them as we can. There will be, frankly, some items that get disposed of but if they get disposed of, we have checked with you. We've made an offer to charitable organizations to donate them. We've gone through several layers and found that they're not reusable items, and only at that point are we going to dispose of them. Did that answer your question? Okay. Thank you for asking.
I would like to see the amount of money that was collected from Friends Homes Guilford for the Employees Appreciation Fund. Every year we had it plastered on every bulletin board. This year I've seen nothing.
Charlie, you. Thank you.
I thought I put a little notice in every cubby a month ago or whatever announcing, and it's in the area of $78,000 was collected this year.
Amen, I saw that. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
And while we're asking the next question, just want to thank Charlie for his efforts in organizing and leading that very generous gift.
A question of, I guess, Mark Ford. How long is that machine going to be here, or how are we doing on that?
Well, I ran it by the month, so it'll be here for at least a month. And as long as the rain stays away, then we'll be going pretty quickly. I think in the initial project updates, I had said it's going to be a 1 to 2 month project. I still feel confident that we're within that window. I think right now we're on the lesser side of that. I'm nervous to say, because it could start raining for 3 weeks at any point in time. But we're doing really well. I'm positive, again, fingers crossed, I'm possibly anticipating moving the lift to the other location at the end of this week.
Mark did say that if we get done sooner, that we will be offering a select few residents rides. So you can go first.
It can spin around real fast.
We'll see what it can do. We're willing to open it up and see what it can do.
I've already signed the waiver, so that's
yeah. We have a good insurance policy. So.
Okay. I have a concern, and I'm sorry, microphone. I have a concern when you're doing these changes in the living rooms, and particularly in the Dr. Milner living room, that his portrait not be lost in the shuffle, and wonder if you know what's going to happen to that, or any plans.
We don't have immediate plans, but I think we will be repurposing. I've talked to the library committee, for starters. Consulted with them a lot about plans for library archives, a lot of different library committee related topics. So we don't have immediate plans, but I do think we will repurpose the Milner Library at some point, and that's not without a lot of thought, and we're not going to just get rid of his portrait for sure. We'll give consideration.
He was one of the founders, and you don't often see that.
Sure.
And so I think it's very important that people recognize the role that he played in founding Friends Homes.
Right. Yep.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Stella Muller, and I'm a new resident and really think it's an awesome place. I really appreciate the excellence. I have a question though. I'm in Foxhall, and they've been tearing down 2 of the studios and making 1-bedroom units out of these 2. I have to say, the noise is just astounding. It's just unbelievable. They're sawing into concrete. So I have a suggestion, because I know there are a lot of people who are very ill, and having to live in that environment could be harmful to them. Could a space in another building be provided and let that rent come out of the funds that they pay every month? It's important because it really, really is. It's very disturbing.
Can you repeat the suggestion? I'm sorry.
Okay, say for example, if I really am a very ill person, on oxygen, I can't move, all that kind of thing, very ill. And so they start hammering and sawing into concrete really loud. I don't know how it does it because you're going through concrete walls. Anyhow, there are people who really are ill. Can there be some kind of effort to find out the neediest people for the quietest environment? Let them pay the fee for one of the guest rooms, and that be deducted from their monthly payment.
Now, I didn't understand what the suggestion was the first time, so thank you for clarifying for me. Thank you.
Woman is just as loud.
Yeah. So what you're experiencing is what occurs oftentimes when there's a renovation in our apartments. It's really not unique to that one building. It's one of those necessary evils that we all face. I had it a couple floors above my office, and so trying to work, it's difficult. So it's one of those ongoing challenges that we'll always face. You're right. Woman is just as bad.
This is an old question, but I want to know, do we have an intentional and a persistent process for helping vendors know that parking in front of Fox or in front of Hobbs or in front of Woolman, close up to the building, is not their best place to park unless they're just loading and unloading? We understand that, but for them to be there all day, every day, the rebath people, the Kitchen Express people, the painters are just there every day taking up resident parking. It's front line or second line parking. And I know you've talked about, and I don't mean this I don't mean negative. I know you talked about trying to find a spot for vendors to go to, and I know that's not easy probably, but I'm concerned, is there an intentional and persistent process for solving that issue for us? If it's not an issue for you, then you tell us that, but for us it is.
It's very much an issue for me because, quite frankly, your problems become, well, they're my problems, and that's my role. So with the parking, I can tell you what I've done. It sounds like a lot of what I've done has been ineffective. But what was extremely effective is the glass man. He loves to park in that 30-minute loading space right there by the front door. I just told him I was going to call the tow truck. I was tired of asking. The persistent folks, and then quite often it may be the same brand. A lot of times it's a different person each time. I spend a lot of my time speaking with the owners of those companies and having those discussions of this isn't something that we can keep doing. I've heard you. I hear the concern. I appreciate it. I will revisit it. I thought that we'd resolved most of those issues, but it sounds like we have not. So I'll continue to ramp it up. I have no problem towing vehicles.
Is there any chance that security and transportation people can be some help in that regard? I know they're independent contractors, I guess, but could they help us in that regard? They got radios.
We're all a great team here, and we can definitely. There's room to improve.
So we'll start calling.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Comments? Suggestions? Okay. Hearing none. Thank you for joining us.
Adios.
See you next month. Same place, same time.